Hopelessness, low self-esteem, and lack of interest and enjoyment are, according to the NHS. If you feel this way too, we want you to know that you are not alone. Build a sense of mastery. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, setting small, achievable goals and celebrating even your little wins can help with depression. Reduce rumination. According to an article published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience, people with depression tend to ruminate a lot on negative experiences, which can worsen their symptoms. Ruminating too often can send you into a downward spiral, especially if you're depressed. Behavioral theory of depression. Megan Rice, a therapist at Talkspace, says that one way to cope with depression is to add rewards into your daily routine. This technique is based on the behavioral theory of depression. Having a daily schedule that includes mental health coping strategies can also help you keep active, have something to look forward to each day, and prevent you from falling into a rut. Challenge distortions. Cognitive distortions are negative beliefs that aren't based in reality. If you have a bad and lack of interest and enjoyment. Hopelessness, low self-esteem, and lack of interest and enjoyment are, according to the NHS. If you feel this way too, we want you to know that you are not alone. Build a sense of mastery. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, setting small, achievable goals and celebrating even your little wins.
So, small achievable goals and your little wins. You gotta achieve that, you know, you can achieve. They're the ones that can make you the happiest. And you don't even have to worry about, the other things because you're already focused on the little things that actually can turn into big things.
Can help with depression. Reduce rumination. According to an article published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience, people with depression tend to ruminate a lot on negative experiences, which can worsen their symptoms.
Yeah.
Ruminating too often can send you into a downward spiral, especially if you're depressed.
Last thing you want to do is get into a downward spiral and be depressed and everything like that, because it just gets worse. And it just goes to show that no matter what you're going through, you can always overcome those little things. You don't have to worry about them.
Behavioral theory of depression. Megan Rice, a therapist at Talkspace, says that one way to cope with depression is to add rewards into your daily routine. This technique is based on the behavioral theory of depression. Having a daily schedule that includes mental health coping strategies can also help you keep active, have something to look forward to each day, and prevent you from falling into a rut. Challenge distortions. Cognitive distortions are negative beliefs that aren't based in reality. If you have a bad experience, do you tend to focus on the negative and believe that things will always go poorly? For instance, if you're feeling down, you may have thoughts like, I'll never get through this. I'm always gonna feel sad. This is an example of a cognitive distortion called overgeneralization. Then write down everything you're feeling and thinking. Next, write down your answer to the following question.
One of the biggest things I like to do as far as, a good stress relief is writing everything down. I write everything down on a piece of paper, and if I can, I'll just write or type it on the computer, and things like that. But before my accident, I always wrote every single thing down. It helped with my stress level, it helped with my anxiety. It just felt real good to put a pen or pencil to a piece of paper, and just be able to write down anything that I was feeling or what was going on in my head and things like that. It was always that I was doing. I was always writing things down. They say that uh, if you have like a compulsive disorder, with me, uh, a creative compulsive disorder that I tend to be dealing with is writing everything down. I have so many things that I've written down, and it's one of those things because if I don't stick with it, it's just gonna stay there, and I'm not gonna be able to finish what I've wrote or anything like that. And if I go back to it, it's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna feel. It's not gonna feel right to me. So,
Is there any evidence that these thoughts may not be true? Finally, write down a more helpful alternative thought.
so
So we could start by talking about depression. Depressed people are sad and frustrated and disappointed. They tend to feel all negative emotions simultaneously in a manner that's paralyzing. Depression is fundamentally a biochemical disorder. One of the things I tried to determine as a good behaviorist was whether the person who was suffering because they were ill in the strictly physiological sense, or whether they were suffering from the cumulative micro and macro catastrophes of life. The probability that tossing an antidepressant into the mix is all of a sudden going to fix your life that are absolutely catastrophically out of order is zero. The more unstable your life is, the less serotonin your brain produces, and that makes you hypersensitive to negative emotion and suppresses positive emotion. You take the problem, I'm suffering, and then you think, well, why are you suffering? It's exposure therapy. And then you can practice encountering the obstacles that are stopping you, and it'll make you braver, and it'll help you deal with your problems. Voluntary confrontation with the forces of darkness and chaos is the fundamental story of life.
one of the things I definitely don't recommend is to have a lot of medication to help with depression. Sometimes you can have ways of dealing with it without needing to go that far or that route. You don't need to go through tons and tons of medication because a lot of medication they have side effects. They have side effects, then all of a sudden you're trying to fix one thing and then another thing comes up that you're going to need medication for that. Then all of a sudden you're on all these bunch of medications that you don't need to be on, and then all of a sudden it's like, why is this happening? Why am I the way I am right now? Because you're building yourself up to have like a downward fall, because a lot of times you don't need to take something to fix one problem and then it builds another problem in the process. You always want to try to be on your toes as far as your health and things like that. I definitely recommend doing it the old natural way, and finding ways to build yourself up when times are at its roughest and toughest. I always feel like you can do so much good in this world. All you have to do is just hope and try that the best things that you can do for yourself will help you in the long run.
Lifestyle changes, including diet and exercise, play a condition. Depression is a serious mental health condition that affects millions of people worldwide. While therapy and medication are used for treatment, lifestyle changes, including diet and exercise, play a crucial role in mental well-being. Mental and physical health are closely connected, with exercise being one of the most powerful natural remedies for depression and anxiety. Physical activity directly affects the brain's neurotransmitters, which are responsible for regulating emotions. Here are 5 mental and emotional benefits of exercise. Number 1, exercise can help boost self-esteem. 2, exercise.
So, as I was saying, being able to build your self esteem just by focusing on the things that you can control and things like that, it's it does so much to your body. It does so much to your body when you find a way to know that you have so much beautiful things that you can do in this world, and as far as exercise and eating healthy, it does something to your inside that makes you say, oh wow, I love this, I'm excited for this. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been feeling down. Having a healthy diet and exercise, it helps with depression treatments, and it's a natural way for you to do it without having to go through all these medications and things like that that'll have like different effects that can affect you in a different way, especially if you get dependent on them, because you definitely don't want to get dependent on any medication. You want to be able to have it help you, but at the same time find a way to wean and do things the natural way, so that you can have like a natural remedy for your body to um, deal with depression, anxiety, and stress.
Exercise encourages social interaction. 3, it can also help improve sleep patterns. 4, it can help reduce anxiety and stress. And lastly, number 5, it releases feel-good hormones. While exercise plays a role in managing depression, diet is just as important. Here are some of the best nutrients for mental health. Making lifestyle changes can be overwhelming at first, but making small, consistent steps can make a lasting impact on your health.
And that is so profoundly true, especially if you are struggling with existential kind of dread of what to do with time. When you set yourself a routine and you follow it, it really, it promotes behavioral activation, which is a very effective treatment in depression, anxiety. And, you need that. You need to exercise. You need to eat. You need to have that schedule to get you out of these ruts. But just to be clear, in bipolar depression, that really does need an antidepressant or lithium. And you've got to be really careful with antidepressants in bipolar, because they can actually shoot you the other way and put you into a mania. And you've got to talk to your psychiatrist about the pros and cons of different medicines.
Mm. Definitely don't want you to go through that. You definitely want to be able to put yourself in a situation where your your doctor can give you something, but at the same time just focus on your overall health. Focus on doing it your way, on your time. And I know it's going to be difficult, but sometimes it's good to try. But if you can't, then definitely ask your doctor what's the best medication for you to take, so you're not dealing with that anxiety and depression on a regular basis.
doctor. You don't have to go see a psychiatrist necessarily or a mental health uh, person. Primary care doctors are trained to do assessment and evaluation and much of the treatment of mental health issues. As a matter of fact, they do most of it in the United States. And then they're able to access more specialist type of care in the event that that's something you might need. The other thing is that treatment is very broad nowadays, and in many cases does not have to involve medication. Not that there's anything bad about medications, they're very effective when they're needed, but there are many types of mental health issues, depression, anxiety, that can be treated effectively with what we call talk therapy, which doesn't involve medications. It's working with a trained counselor to help you with coping and managing the symptoms. Well, there's good news. You can actually see your primary care doctor. You don't have to go see a psychiatrist necessarily or a mental health uh, person. Primary care doctors are trained to do assessment and evaluation and much of the treatment of mental health issues. As a matter of fact, they do most of it in the United States. And then they're able to access more specialist type of care in the event that that's something you might need. The other thing is that treatment is very broad nowadays, and in many cases does not have to involve medication. Not that there's anything bad about medications, they're very effective when they're needed, but there are many types of mental health issues, depression, anxiety, that can be treated effectively with what we call talk therapy, which doesn't involve medications. It's working with a trained counselor to help you with coping and managing the symptoms.
So that's another good thing. Another good thing, to be able to get through what you're going through is to talk about it. Talk about those situations that you're going through. I had someone that I was talking to. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying before. I was saying that you don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about like, you know, having a psychologist or someone to sit down with you and talk about those things that you want to talk about, because it helps. Where all you have to do is just sit down and just open yourself up. Not only does it make you feel good inside, but it also helps with your mental. It also helps with your self esteem, because your mental is what's very important. You know, your mental health is very important, and everything that you're going through in your life, a lot of times we just can't see the symptoms until it's too late. And then when it's too late, we try to find a way to cope in different ways that can be harmful to our bodies, like drugs, alcohol, and all these other things that is not worth it, you know. So being able to succeed and find ways to help yourself and do the best that you could do to, find a way to cope with things, and your methods as far as who you are and what you want to be able to do, just find a way to stay positive, keep working hard, exercise, eat healthy, because it affects your inside in a positive way if you're able to stay on the right track. You know, you don't have to worry about all these other things that you're putting in to your system as far as what you're doing, who's helping you do what, and where you're getting some things, and leave the extra things that will help in a negative way, leave those alone. Don't focus on the negative, but always focus on the positive things. Keep the positive energy, keep those positive vibes, because that's all we can uh, do in this world right now, is to make sure that we're doing the right things to help ourselves, help each other, and keep on going on the right track moving forward, because a lot of times we just don't know what to do as far as our mental and physical health, and a lot of times it's good to seek other people's advice. It's always good to get other people involved, and also help people help you, and you can also get help from them so that you can be able to help somebody else. Whether it's you or someone that's different, or someone else, whereas like, oh, well, I wanted that person's help, but I can also find ways to do it in a different way to help myself. So, one of the beautiful things about being in those type of situations, it's so great to be able to find a way to balance and to be able to show the wonderful things that you can do for yourself. It takes so much, and it only takes just a little bit to help you in a way that can help you thrive and do the best that you can do. Other people are going to find ways to help themselves and get better. Some people just stay in the same place where they just feel like, well, I've done everything that I could, but I'm going to find a way that works for me. Some people don't even take the time to, you know, move forward, but they just keep on finding the ways to um, move backwards, unfortunately. But just remember the end game.
I had anxiety every day when I went to training. Those are okay things to have. So I feel like maybe we should change the narrative and normalize feeling bad. Instead of making people feel like you're sad, take this pill. You have anxiety, something's wrong with that. Why is that bad? Why do I have to be like every ridiculous commercial? Because in the US, we advertise prescription medication where I'm smiling all the time and happy. My barometer for life is not to be happy. The moments that I've done the most amazing things in my life, I've not been happy. I've been fulfilled. I've been like, man, I just did that. When I would wake up at 3 a.m. to go to the White House to stand post for 10 hours outside the Oval Office in the freezing cold in the winter, I wasn't happy. It was freezing. I was cold. But you know what? I was like, man, how did I get here? I will say this. It is okay to be depressed. It is okay to have anxiety. It is okay to feel bad. I think maybe that's the issue because we're in a space where, oh, you're depressed? There's something wrong with you. You have anxiety? Whoa. I had anxiety every day when I went to training. Those are okay things to have. So I feel like maybe we should change the narrative and normalize feeling bad.
Now, it's okay. It is normal, and a lot of people have it, you know, and it's okay to a certain extent, but it's not okay when it's taken over your life. When it's taken over your life to where you don't know what to do next, that is the issue. That's the issue because now you have all these things going on in your life. It's okay, but the things are is that what I think she's saying is that when you have these things, it allows you to work harder. It allows you to do unspeakable things that you can do to help yourself get over that depression and anxiety. You don't have to focus on all negative, bad things, but you do your best work when you're not feeling your best self because now your mind is saying, I can overcome this. I'm going to conquer this even though I'm not 100% myself, you know? So it is normal, and a lot of people have it, but it's up to you what you want to do as far as dealing with it. 100% up to you. Like I said, you can get people to help you. You can get people to, you know, do amazing things as far as being able to support, guide you in a positive direction. But at the end of the day, it's not them, you know, you have to work on yourself. You have to work on yourself before other people can come into your life and try to help. It starts with you. If you don't feel like doing it or don't want to do it, then that's the issue, that people are going to be like, well, you know what? If they're not giving an effort, I shouldn't give an effort either. That's the wrong mindset. It's the wrong mindset to have when you're trying to push through something that's serious as anxiety and depression. So, in order to get past that, it's all up to you. It starts with you admitting that, one, you have this problem that you're going through, and I want to be able to fix it. That's the first step, is what you're able to do in those situations so that you'll be able to move forward, and then you can focus on the next steps, which is people giving them their insight and their support, you know. And the other steps, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, a lot of other steps that you have to take as far as what you want to accomplish and what you want to fulfill. And that's all that you have to do, is follow those steps after you take the first step, which is, I want to be able to deal with this and overcome this. All right.
Manage your thoughts. Sometimes negative thinking can contribute to your depression. It can be helpful to pay attention to your thoughts and practice realistic or balanced thinking. One simple way of doing this is by imagining yourself changing the channel from a negative thought to a neutral or positive thought. Other skills to help manage your negative thinking include: notice unhelpful or negative thoughts. Challenge or talk back to negative thoughts. Think of 3 things you are grateful for. Think of solutions to problems.
Definitely
Or
a good
tell
one.
yourself positive affirmations, such as, I can make it through the day. I will be kind to myself today. Or, I'm strong. I can deal with this.
It's what I've been always telling myself and things like that. I'll say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work hard today. I'm not going to let this day just pass me by. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to deal with this. Sometimes it's always good to build yourself up so you don't crumble and fall down and stay down, you know. Work on, when if you're down and you're out, that's the perfect time to lift yourself up and say, you know what, I'm strong. I can do this. I'm not going to let this tear me down. I got this. I don't care how long it takes. I know that it's a struggle and it's going to take some times, but I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to keep on doing it and taking it one day at a time. I'm not going to let this overcome or tear me down, but I'm going to find a way to conquer this so I can lift myself up. And that's what you got to do.
Got 60 seconds? Take a mental health minute to learn about depression disorders. They cause symptoms that affect how you feel, how you think, and how you handle daily life. Depression should be treated by health professionals. Don't try to handle it alone or treat it with alcohol or illegal drugs. Treatments include psychotherapy or talk therapy, medication, and sometimes brain stimulation therapy. These treatments may also be used in combination with one another. If you think you might have depression, talk to a trusted friend, family member, or healthcare provider. The earlier treatment begins, the more effective it is. Learn more about depression through the NIMH website and take 60 seconds to share this mental health minute to
or even dancing alone in your room can shift your mood. 2. Saying no without guilt. Protect your peace. Cancel the call. Skip the meetup. You're not lazy, you're preserving energy to survive the day. 3. Eating something nourishing. Depression steals appetite, but food is fuel. Start with something soft, simple, or familiar. Your body needs it. 4. Talking to one safe person. You don't need a crowd, just someone who listens without fixing. A friend, a voice note, a support group. You're not alone. 5. Creating a tiny routine. Wake, shower, sit in the sun, brush your teeth, repeat. A tiny routine gives your brain something to anchor to. 6. Letting the tears fall crying doesn't make you weak. It means your body is releasing what your words can't. Let it out. 7. Finding one thing to look forward to.
I like that. So, remember that saying, crying doesn't make you weak, but it's getting rid of something that you're not able to speak verbally, but it's a action that's able to heal you down the line, because cry, crying helps your healing. It helps with your healing, and it helps uh, give you another look at things as far as your what you're going through. If you cry and things like that, you're not able to speak or talk. Sometimes you want to just be able to let out a cry. That's fine. You know, that is totally fine. You don't have to, you don't have to bottle it up. Let it stay in your system and just bring out something that is too overwhelming for you to overcome. So just keep that in mind the next time you're feeling sad. It's okay to let it out. And sometimes it's good to find a way, because I tell you, I would love to have just, a good cry. You know, it's definitely one of the things that you look and you feel like, well, I want to be able to do this, and I want to be able to take everything that I was going through, and I want to be able to do it in a way that I can find, so that I'll be able to heal myself. I don't have to worry about anything else. I'm not so much as to talk about the problem, but my actions will tell you how I feel about this problem. You just hope that it's not those actions that what you will regret later on down the road, you know? So just hoping that you can take what you can get, and being able to have something like some strategies that will help you be able to cope with what you're going through as far as stress, depression, and anxiety. Because a lot of people go through it, a lot of people are going through it, and they're dealing with it in their own ways. But it's always good to ask for help so that you can find another way for you to deal with that instead of the way that you think is good for you.